The question that we've been asked is sometimes disbursements can be very confusing with respect to taxes. I want to bring attention on this particular one, which is, a land transfer tax, for example, right? In this example, as you see here, it's a land transfer tax. It's $400, and then there's a statutory fee of $65. And then there is a $10 ELRSA fee. HST is only calculated on that. So if I take the calculator here, right, and if I take 10.85 and multiply it by 13% for Ontario, I get that 141, and the total amount that was withdrawn from your general account was 477.31. How do you enter this such a complex disbursement in ULA is the question. To do that, what you would do is you would divvy up the taxable portion and the non-taxable portion of the HST. In this case, the non-taxable portion is 400 plus 6505, right? Which is 46505. So when you go to add new disbursements and you say paid from general, right? What you can do is you can say land transfer tax, right? And you can put here, what you would do is you can put here the full amount that you want to charge the client. In this case, I'm going to say 400 plus 65.05 plus 10.85, right? And not take the HST portion. And you can say that's what I'm charging the client. Now ULA will calculate its own tax of 61.87, and you want to say no, I want to just charge him $1.41 of HST. And when you do that, it'll come up to 477.31, which is the amount. Now when you put it in the bottom part and report the expense, it's a little bit more complicated than that. The way you want to do that is you want to click on this button to say disallowed expenses. Take all the portion that you don't have for taxes, which is 400 plus 6505. You can say here 465.05 is non-taxable, and then you say this 1085 is taxable. You can say 10.85 is taxable, and ULA will calculate 145, and you see now it's here. And here you can say land transfer tax and reg fee. Right. So again, to go through the math, what you're doing is on the top you're entering the pre-tax amount, and then you're overriding the tax with $1.41. In the bottom, however, in the disallowed expense section, you would put all the non-taxed amount, and the taxed amount you would do it this way, and you actually say how you paid for it in the general account, right? It was paid using, I don't know, maybe a check or something like that. You'll pick the bank from where it was paid and hit the save button. So what you're charging the client, okay, and I'm going to quickly raise a pre-bill that will show you how you're charging the client. So when you're charging the client, it'll clearly tell you that, hey, for this disbursement, and it'll match what you kind of have here in your statement, right? You're charging the client 477.31, out of which taxes $1.41, and a subtotal is this much. And when you actually see at your expense statement, I can do a quick expense book for today. I can just do expense book for today and do a download. You will now see that the expense book now has $465.05 of disallowed, $10.85 of expense, and this adding up to the same amount. So you see now that the invoice and the expense match, basically, which means the HSTs get negated as well. But that's how you would record it. The most important part, right, that I want to stress is how you use this disallowed expense to report that expense, right? The top part is what you're charging the client, right? There you want to exactly say what's the amount and what's the tax. You can just override it and you can do that. The bottom part, however, you want to make sure that you kind of do it right. Now you could have done it the normal way too. You could have put here 475.90, and that's not wrong either. You can say 475 0.90 and you can get rid of this, right? It'll calculate some funny number and you can say 1.41. That's also correct, like, nothing wrong in that. But if you use the disallowed, you could calculate tax the normal way as well. So there are two options there. Either use the disallowed expense or override. Like, if normally, if you just, do that, ULAW would calculate, just click it, empty it, and say 1.41. Either of the options will work. Okay. Again, summarizing, like, make sure that whatever tax HST is calculated, you can look here and you can override it. But the key element is calculating the pre-tax amount and entering it, and then, putting the taxes accordingly.